Non-fiction books are a great option if you want to open yourself to the world of self-development, or if you want to open yourself up to the huge world of knowledge that lies in books. But the problem with most of the non-fiction books that are out there in those lists of 100 books to read in your lifetime, 100 self-help books to read in your lifetime, is that they are too difficult for beginners. As a beginner, if you pick those up, you would most probably not read another non-fiction or any book at all. This is why I thought of going through my list of non-fiction books that I have read myself and giving you 10 of those books that are fit for you as a beginner. These books are easy to read and are interesting and short enough for you to read as a beginner. Just one more thing you need to know before we get into this video is that when it comes to non-fiction, the options are endless. There are so many genres inside non-fiction, so many topics inside this genre. So I personally am into business books, I'm into books about health, I like startups, marketing, YouTube. So you can find books related to these in this video. So without further ado, let's get started with this video. But before that, please make sure you're subscribed to me and follow me on my social media and hit the bell button so that you get notified for every bookish video that I make. Number one book I would suggest you is Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. There is a prequel to this called Crush It, but that book was something I didn't like very much. However, this book is a must read if you want to get started with building up your brand in the online world. If you are a business owner or want to start a business or you want to be an influencer, then you must read this book. It is all about building up your brand online, and it definitely is very inspiring and easy to read. You can read this book in one sitting and you will definitely get a lot of insight out of it. So definitely check it out. I would put links to all of these books down below in the description, so do check out the description after you are done watching this video. Number two book I would suggest you is called YouTube Secrets by Benji Travis and Sean Kinnell. Now these two people have a channel called Video Influencers, which I regularly follow for tips on YouTube and how to grow my YouTube channels and my brand as a YouTuber. And they wrote this book just to introduce you towards the world of YouTube and how you can actually build up a successful channel. So their book is quite an introduction to this world of YouTube, and honestly it's a short book that you can read and fly through, and by the end of this book you will have a good introduction on what you need to do to build up your YouTube brand. So do check it out as well. Number three book I would like to suggest you is Big Billion Startup by Mihir Dalal. Now I also have a separate video on this book. This book has an investigative journalism kind of approach towards the growth of Flipkart as a startup. So it looks at how Flipkart was born and how it became such a big company in India, and really how two IITians who were working for Amazon ended up creating the biggest competitor of Amazon in India. So I really like this book, especially because it's so interesting. I was shocked to see how this book was much more interesting than many fiction books I have read. It is full of entertainment and thrill, which is quite astonishing when you are just reading a book about the growth of a startup, right? So I definitely recommend you this book if you're into e-commerce startups and if you just want to know how these businesses came to be, because the author also discusses about a lot of other businesses that Flipkart sort of touched while they grew into such a big business. So if you have even a mild interest in e-commerce startups in India, you need to pick up this book. Number four non-fiction book for beginners that I would pick is The Great Indian Diet by Shilpa Shetty Kundra and Luke Cutino. As evident from the name, is about Indian diet. It talks of food, and I believe food and health are two things that are universal to everybody. Each of us is and should be interested in being healthy and eating nutritional food. And this book discusses about how the Indian food that we devalue so much these days because of the influence of the fad diets and the fast food chains, etc., is actually quite nutritional and actually quite balanced, and how you can just have your normal Indian diet and be super healthy. So this book was an eye opener to me, and also it gives you a lot of knowledge on what you are eating every day. If you are an Indian, it really gives you what you are eating, and really when you're saying no to your mom about what you don't want to eat, what you're saying no to actually. So I would definitely recommend you this book, which is all about food and the Great Indian Diet. Number 5 book is The Power of Posture. Really, I have recently read this book. It's so easy, but at the same time, it's something that I have not stopped talking about ever since I read it. This is the book that really made me realize like the normal activities of my life. For example, me sitting and making this video, or me sitting on my desk and working, what it really means for my body, what it really means to for my muscles and my bones, and what is happening when I'm just resting or I'm just lying down and sleeping. It really gives you so much of awareness about your body and what you're doing to it, and also obviously gives you solutions towards it. It suggests you exercises, and it suggests you a lot of things that you can inculcate in your daily life in a very easy manner, to be more healthier and to stop tormenting your body, which you will realize you are doing even if you are a perfectly healthy person after you read this book. So do check it out. Number 6 book I want to suggest you is Perils of Being Moderately Famous by Soha Ali Khan. It's a celebrity memoir, but I would say it's quite different than usual celebrity memoirs. First of all, obviously the language is easy, something very interesting that you would love to read, but just the writing of this author is so hilarious. You would love to, be a part of the anecdotes of her life. And also, when it comes to celebrity memoirs, right, we love to see their lives, but they are not that relatable to us because they are celebrities, okay? We are normal people. However, that is not the case with this book, The Perils of Being Moderately Famous. It's actually quite relatable, it's actually quite fun to read as a celebrity memoir and as just a normal book, just a memoir of somebody. It's something so good, so you need to try it out. Number 7 is also a celebrity memoir. It's called An Unsuitable Boy by Karan Johar. Honestly, when it comes to celebrity memoirs, I would say normally you would love to read memoirs that are of celebrities you already love. And I personally loved Karan Johar. I have watched Coffee with Karan all episodes multiple times, and I have been following his movies and just his public appearances since a long time. So I loved, just reading this book and knowing more about him. So if you are somebody who admires Karan Johar, you definitely need to pick it up, and it's easy to read. It's something you can fly through. It's interesting. Next book I would recommend you is a collection of essays called India Positive by Chetan Bhagat. Now this was again a shocker. First of all, Chetan Bhagat's writing is very easy for anybody. Like the very beginners can pick up his books and enjoy them, which is something which is so important, I feel, for people who just want to get into reading and need these kind of books. Apart from that, this is a collection of essays discussing several issues in the society and several hot issues in the Indian economy and society at this moment, and he just gives you his sort of unbiased take on it. Obviously you can consider some of it biased, which a lot of us would consider if we do not agree with his point, but he gives you like a direction on, what, this is the subject, this is what happened, this is what I think. Now it's up to you what you want to think about this. So I feel like this was quite something that generated awareness about Indian economy, Indian society, and what's going on in Indian politics and everything in general. I believe for youngsters, teenagers, 14 plus, even 12 plus people, such kind of books are really important to be read because social media creates a lot of noise. Whereas when it comes to books, they are well structured in a manner that they just give you a direction on what you can think of and what you need to study further or what you need to ponder over further, and which is something this book does. So I would definitely recommend you this book if you are interested in current issues. Number 9 is The Great Indian Obsession. It's really a book about engineering and how engineering became such a sought out profession in India, because Indians are really obsessed with engineering, and this really starts from the establishment of IITs in India, and then the whole, the hubs that prepare you for engineering entrance exams and everything. I personally am a software engineer myself, and most of the times, most of us who do engineering, we actually end up hating the whole course, and we actually end up thinking that this is not what we wanted for our lives. And I feel like I am one of those people, but it was really great to see this whole obsession over engineering and the whole aspects of it, IITs and other engineering colleges, and what's really happening on the ground. It's really great to see it, and it was really a subject, as you would see from this list, that was different than what I usually read when it comes to nonfiction. So I feel like when it comes to nonfiction, you might find more easy reads and more nonfiction books for beginners. And I would urge you to try out different subjects. I wouldn't say pick up a subject that is totally alien to you, but even if it is something mildly relatable to you, just pick it up and read it, because it will give you so much of insight and so much of knowledge. And by the end of the book, you would have finished a book, that is one, then you would have learned something new, that is two, and you would have a new experience, and you can just move on to another book and another chapter of your life. That is what I find fantastic about reading nonfiction books on different topics. So do try it out. And lastly, I have another celebrity memoir. It's called Rearview, My Roadie's Journey by Raghu. I personally feel like in all of these books, they are inspiring in one manner or another. Really, it depends on you and how deeply and how connected you feel to a book to feel inspired from that. Having said that, out of all of these, this one is something you would find the most inspiring. It's one of the first few books I read after a big drought in my reading life, and it was so inspiring. It was something which I totally wouldn't have read, because I do not follow this celebrity much, and I didn't follow his show Roadies much, and I knew a little bit about it. But a friend of mine was very insistent on me reading this book, and he was like, "This is super inspiring, Manpreet. You need to read it." And that's what happened. I started reading it, finished it in one go, and since then I have been recommending this to a lot of people. A lot of people just have the an opinion about the celebrity and would just not read this book, but I would say give it a chance. It's really inspiring. It's about the struggle of this normal guy and him growing into this celebrity. And it wasn't really a cool ride for him, in the sense that the fame is not always positive, so he also gathered a lot of negative fame through this, which is something very different and something you would not find in other celebrity memoirs. That is why I felt like this was so inspiring. Because, and yes guys, with this book I have my 10 non-fiction books for beginners that I would like to suggest you. I definitely recommend these to you guys. And even if you have a friend who is trying to read non-fictions but is unable to finish a book, then do point your friend to this video so that they can pick up a book that is meant for a beginner. Not all non-fiction books are meant for beginners, which is what kind of discourages us as beginners, and we feel like maybe this genre is not for me, maybe reading books is not for me. It's totally not the case. If you find the right book for yourself, you would fall in love with reading, and I hope one of these books is the right book for you. So do check all of these out. And yes, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to me for more videos, and do hit a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Manpreet signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.